Alright, this is Josh Rubin from East West Healing and Performance. Today we're going to be talking about weight training with females and hormonal considerations. We're going to keep it simple because this basically can get quite complex, because if you look at it from my perspective in lab testing so many females, we have tons of women that are on prescription medications that alter their hormones. We have tons of women that are financially and emotionally stressed, which can alter their hormones. Tons of women that are on the pill and all these crazy devices that are coming out that basically take away their cycle, so we know they have a hormone imbalance. Tons of women eating conventional refined processed foods with additives and preservatives, which we know creates a hormone imbalance. We know tons of women are wearing perfumes and synthetic, whatever, makeup, which can create a hormone imbalance. So women are very fragile, so anything basically can cause a hormone imbalance. So the problem is, if you're working with a client or you are female and you train yourself, if during your cycle you want to weight train, you have to look at, well, do I have PMS? Am I getting abdominal cramps? Am I getting bloating? Do I have weight gain? Do I get back pain? Do I get SI joint pain? Am I irritable? Do I have mood problems? Do I have cravings and sweet cravings? Am I depressed and any other emotional issues? If you're having any of these symptoms, this is a sign that something is wrong. Okay, we've created PMS in a sense, and this is your body's way of telling you something's wrong. So you need to listen to it. So first things first, if you're having these symptoms, do a lot of nutritional lifestyle coaching with a practitioner or myself. We do it long distance at our clinic, so you're welcome to call us to set up a free consultation, or go to our website. There's tons of articles and tons of resources to get tips on nutritional lifestyle principles to help balance your hormones. At the same time, you want to get a saliva test done on your hormones to see what's going on, a full hormone panel. Saliva tests the active hormones that are in your body, where blood tests the inactive form. So it's highly inaccurate. I've tested hundreds of women who have come to me and say, I have all these symptoms, I did a lab test with my doctor, he says my hormones are fine. We do a saliva lab and their hormones are completely out of whack. They're having night sweats, right? They're having bloating and cramping, and they can't sleep, and insomnia and mood problems, and on and on. So it's the body's way of telling you something. So those are the first two things you want to do. Thirdly, if you want to weight train, there's just some things you really got to focus on. Typically with women, when they're estrogen dominant or they have a hormone imbalance, this creates ligament laxity. So you want to make sure you're not stretching, or if you are stretching, you're stretching the right muscles. Okay? So a couple things you want to do, hold on 1 second here. A couple things you want to do is, the first thing you can do is what's called a 9-point flexibility scale. It was developed by Mariano Roccabato out of Chile, and it's pretty simple. Okay? You score, it's a 9-point flexibility scale. So basically it's pinky to wrist, and every time you have the flexibility, like if I could get my pinky to my wrist, you score a plus, okay? So that's 1, 2, right? So I'm negative. I haven't gotten any points yet because I'm not flexible. 3, thumb to wrist. 4 on both sides. Both elbows. 5, 6. Basically if they can hyperextend them. So if I could hyperextend my elbows on both sides, it'd be a +1 and +2. Okay, that's 6. The knees, you stand up, you have them hyperextend the knees. If they can hyperextend their knees, that's 7, 8. And then the last one is they bend over and touch the ground. Can they touch their hands flat to the ground? So that's 9. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, knees, 7, 8, hands to the ground, 9. In my book, if someone scores a 5 or a 6, usually a 6 or above, that means they're hypermobile. They don't need to stretch. And if you stretch them, you're going to make them more hypermobile, make them more unstable, and create more pain. I've worked with tons of women who have hormonal imbalances, do yoga, they come to me with just chronic systemic pain. They're working with all these people and practitioners and chiropractors, and no one can help them. It's because they're stretching them and they're making it worse. So first thing first, make sure you're not too flexible, and if you're stretching the right muscles, and make sure that you even need to be stretching. Another thing you want to focus on, what I typically do with women during their cycle, depending on the person, this is all person specific, if they are hypermobile and it's during their cycle, typically a couple days prior to their cycle and a couple days after their cycle, basically when they stop bleeding, we either train on the ground, okay, or we train on stable surfaces using compound exercises like squats, front squats, seated shoulder presses, stuff like that. We don't use unstable surfaces, or we actually do machine training. Okay, that's the only time I use it because it actually supports them. They're unstable, so we do floor exercises, compound exercises like shoulder presses, bicep curls, just all your general bodybuilding stuff. or machines. We want to actually use a compound weight-bearing stable exercise because they're unstable. So it's a key point. Second thing is you don't want to overtrain them, okay, because they're in a state of imbalance. You don't want to train them for an hour. Typically, I keep the sessions very anaerobic, no longer than 30 minutes, so I get more of a growth hormone response and less of a catabolic cortisol response. And at the same time, I keep the weight or the intensity low. Okay, so you don't want to have the intensity high, which creates more of a load on the joint. If they're unstable, for instance, intensity is weight. If you have them doing 80-pound dumbbell presses overhead, they're unstable. Well, you need stability before mobility. So if you're lifting 80 pounds and you have an unstable shoulder because of hormone imbalance, well, now you're going to create more wear and tear and more dysfunction. So I actually lower the intensity, I increase the volume, which is the reps and things like that. Okay, they're just some tips for you if you're working with females to help your clients, to help yourself. But the bottom line is you need to clean up your nutrition. You need to get your a hormone done and your hormones tested to see what's going on. Okay, and then from there, the bottom line is if you want to weight train, you can weight train. And what happens with a lot of women, a lot of the things I just told you about how to train your client, once we balance their hormones, we can actually do all the same exercises that they have been doing during their cycle before and after. We don't have to alter it because of instabilities. Okay? So take a look at your nutrition, take a look at your hormones in a lab, do the 9-point flexibility scale developed by Mariano Roccabato. Alter your training during and after your cycle, the couple days before and a couple days after. And if you're having pain, if you have PMS, it's your body's way of telling you that something's wrong. So listen to it, okay? Hopefully you've learned something from us. Stay tuned for more great YouTube clips. If you want to sign up for a free newsletter that we send out bi-weekly, go to our website at eastwesthealing.com. We have a lot of great resources, articles, free audio programs, and on and on and on.